there's been a lot of easy and fun Sonic Speed Simulator events, but there were also some that have been incredibly difficult. Today, we are going to be talking about 5 of the most difficult Sonic Speed Simulator events, and let me tell you, I remember a lot of these events, and they were definitely very hard to do. Shout out to this guy right here for suggesting the video, and let's get right into it. Yeah, guys, there's definitely been a ton of very hard Sonic Speed Simulator events, but today we're going to talk about 5 of the most difficult events that I could find. Most of them are from the OG Sonic Speed Simulator, but I think there's like 1 or 2 that are from the reborn version. I'm sure you guys are able to guess what at least one of those are. So let's start this video off with the golden eggs. So I decided to put this at number 5 because honestly I didn't know whether to include these or not. If we are talking about a specific wave of golden eggs, of course the wave would be wave number 1, because that is when Gold Style Knuckles only had 300 worldwide copies. That is a absolutely insane number. Only 300 in the world. That means that only 300 people can actually have a chance at completing their skin collection, which is absurd. And also, it's not just that the numbers of the characters were actually lower. It is that the golden egg waves were actually a lot harder, because I think you could only get 1 golden egg a day or something. I cannot remember fully. It was either a lot more steps to get an egg, or there was something there. I'll put a picture on the screen of what the menu actually looked like, but it was a lot different when the gold egg wave first came out. And also, I don't think that you could actually get like the 50 eggs to get 3 bonus eggs or whatever, so I don't even think that was a thing yet. But yeah, just one I didn't know to include or not, but I think it still counts, so I think it deserves number 5. Also, don't worry guys, my shirt is not see-through. I'm not the green screen. Look at Sonic, what? Alright, at number 4, we have the Werehog event from 2022. See, in this event, it was relatively easy, but there's usually always one quest in these events that make the event really difficult. And in this case, this difficult part was actually collecting the medals, because if you guys know Unleashed, right, the worst part is really collecting all those sun and moon medals, especially moon medals, because you need them to advance in the game, and they're a pretty big pain to get. While in Sonic Speed Simulator, they decided to follow up with that trend and do the same thing again, with the moon medals being the more annoying one, because you had to get them from completing a time trial in Pumpkin Hill. We can actually just go to Pumpkin Hill and I can show you the time trial. It won't show you that you get the moon medals, but you guys will get the point. You guys can see here we've actually got time trials, and you'd usually get the most moon medals from getting the gold one. I think you'd get 150, and you need 5,000 moon medals. So you would have to do the time trial about like 30 times with the gold medal if you guys wanted to get the skin. That is kind of insane. I remember playing this event. Obviously it was still fun because we'd get like candy and then we could go to the Halloween shop or whatever, so it wasn't that bad. Like, I'm not saying this event was bad, but it was definitely a grind. For the sun medals, you could just run around and collect them, so that was obviously pretty easy, but it was still kind of hard, I guess. Alright guys, in number 3 we have the Super Sonic event. Who could have seen that coming? Now, this event was relatively easy. Super Sonic's part, I guess. From what I remember, it was relatively easy. So you're probably wondering, why am I including this on the list? Well, that is because in order to unlock the Super Sonic event, you actually had to complete a whole other event before you could even start doing this event. You had to complete Silver's event. So of course this was a 2-part update, but if you weren't playing for the first part, then you would have to do 2 events before like the week ends. And Silver's event, I believe, was pretty hard to do. And then also Super Sonic's one, I think it was actually maybe difficult. I can't fully remember, but it was definitely a lot of work to do both of these events. And it's just kind of crazy that you had to complete Silver's event in order to unlock the ability to play Super Sonic's event. So yeah, but Super Sonic is like the fastest character in the game, so that's cool. But he doesn't have any abilities except for that he can fly, and a lot of the other super characters can fly, and they have other abilities, so like, he's getting no love, man. We need more supersonic updates. He needs like a chaos blast or something, I don't know. Alright, now the next event is actually Detective Tails' event, and I'm sure a pretty big percentage of you guys actually haven't played this event before, because it is a pretty old event. But in this event, it was pretty easy until the end, because that is of course where it gets tricky at the end. I think you had to collect like a fingerprint currency or something. You had to collect a ton of those fingerprints, and this is what made it so hard to complete the event, because it took a lot of time. This was actually one of the skins that I didn't end up unlocking until trading was added, so that's kind of crazy. Though I will say, you can definitely tell it's been a lot easier to get skins since Reborn happened, because for one, there's trading, and two, they're all like 30-minute to an hour events, so the events now are definitely not as hard as they used to be, which is why most of the events on this list were from the OG Sonic Speed Simulator. But at number 1, we have none other than it's the Classic Tails event. If you're an OG, you know there's not much to say if you're an OG, but you guys have no idea how difficult this event was. It would take you 3 hours or more just to complete this event, and that's with Event Chow. This skin was obviously worth grinding for, especially now that it can fly, like that's super cool. But this skin was really good at the time as well. Just it looks super cool, and everyone thinks this character is adorable, obviously. I mean, just look at them. But let's actually talk about what was in the event. So it was one of those scavenger hunt events where you actually had to collect just like random gems all around the map. And in this case, the gems were called time shards. And there wasn't many of these time shards actually in the game. Like, you would have to keep switching from world to world to world just to get these time shards faster. Here's the event on screen. You had to collect 250,000 time shards. I remember doing this event. I remember it being annoying, but 250,000, it's an absurd amount. Now you can just buy them at the shop for like 300 Robux. I think they should sell them for more. I think this skin is worth more than 300 Robux just because of how hard that event was. But yeah, that event, it at least took Sonic Hub a few hours, and he even said that on his video. For me, it definitely took a few hours to do this event. I definitely remember unlocking Classic Tails, but this event was absolutely insane. At least we got an amazing skin out of it though, so that's the upside. But yeah, guys, that is all for today's video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and if you did, please be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel if you guys want to support me. Shout out to everyone on the right side of the screen for being subscribed. If you guys want a shout out, you just simply gotta subscribe. Let me know if you guys were actually playing some of these hard Sonic Speed Simulator events. I think I played all of them except for the Detective Tails one, but I might even have played that one. I'm not sure. But yeah, thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys in the next one.